From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. I wouldn't want to be around for a day worse than this. That is what the president of the New York Stock Exchange said when the market closed today, down by every conceivable measure. Down by more than it's ever been before. The last Dow Jones count we have today is down 508 points, but they are still counting on Wall Street, and the final numbers won't be available perhaps until noon tomorrow. And it is down on every other world market as well. The actual numbers make it look worse than the great crash in 1929. However, this is 1987. The whole environment is different. Still in all, there's never been a day quite like it. We begin with our business correspondent, Stephen Ogg.
The panic was clear from the opening bell as investors large and small sought to get out of the market, to sell at any price.
The market makes me feel very nervous now. It's going up and down every couple of days. It's time to get out.
For a number of major stocks, no buyers were to be had. Everybody wanted to sell. So that meant some well-known companies couldn't even open for trading for hours. Exxon, the world's biggest oil company, didn't begin trading for nearly 2 hours after the stock exchange opened. IBM was an hour and 15 minutes late. Shares of Walt Disney couldn't even begin trading until 11:12 a.m. That was an hour and 3/4 after the market opened. And then it traded for just 6 minutes until another barrage of sell orders hit. Then Disney didn't trade for another 2 hours. For dozens of companies, it was the same. And when they did open, it was down like a rock.
You have a definite element of panic in here because a lot of stocks are being sold down to levels that have not been seen for a year, maybe a year and a half. They're being sold down indiscriminately on the basis that people don't know where they're going to go or what point the market is going to stop, and therefore they sell the stocks out.
And the panic fed on itself. Take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. At 10 a.m., a half hour after the market opened, it was already down 68 points. By 11, down more than 200. Around noon, it seemed to recover a bit. Then it plunged on down through the afternoon, closing at 1738.41, down more than 508 points for the day. In percentage terms, that's down 22.6%. By comparison, the biggest previous drop on December 12, 1914, was more than 24%, and October 28, 1929, was more than 12%. Among the most active individual stocks, such widely held companies as AT&T closed down 6 1/8 to 24. 2 weeks ago, before the big drop, AT&T was selling for 33.5. General Electric down 9 1/8 to 41 5/8. Had been 65 5/8. Exxon closed down 8.5 to 35. 2 weeks ago, Exxon was 49 3/4 and trading colossal. About 605 million shares changed hands, double the previous record. But comparing today's trading and that of the big collapse in 1929 brings up some differences. Then the trading was fed by margin calls. Few investors in those days owned their stocks outright. They'd bought them for 10% down, 10% margin. And to do it, billions of dollars had been borrowed from banks and brokerage houses that had to sell them out at any price just to try paying off the loans. Today, investors have to put up at least 50% of the price to buy on margin. But most of the trading is done by the institutions, which buy their shares outright for cash. So margin selling is less a factor in this drop. So what's going on here?
In our opinion, this market will settle down, but it's going to take time, perhaps several months, before we see a renewal of the favorable bull trend.
The market looked almost immune, resilient. Nothing seemed to dent it, and if anything, confidence and expectations on earnings this past summer were going even higher, even a peak. So I think we're coming down to earth. The question is, how badly bruised are you when you hit the earth?
So the selling today had nothing to do with why people bought the stocks in the first place. Future profits, dividends, good management, nothing mattered. It was just sell me out at any price. Peter?
Stephen, what's the effect of these enormous sales by the computers within seconds? Do they just jam up the system and set the panic going?
Well, I am told that they certainly add to it. Computer-generated trading can generate 80 million shares in a minute, and that certainly feeds that market panic, yes.
So that's in part what happened today, do you think?
That's what some of the analysts are saying, yes.
Okay. Stephen Ogg, thanks very much.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today is Thursday, October 11th, 2018, the day after. Anyways, it's so bad, look, I lost a shirt off my back, literally. It has nothing to do with it being 100 billion degrees out here. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the little trip down memory lane with the video I played at the beginning of the episode. And I'm gonna just keep this really, really short today because I feel like, right now we're kind of like in a waiting period. We're seeing what's gonna happen with the markets and all that stuff. Last night when I was on my live on Twitch, when I was live, we were watching Bitcoin crash and then even out. We watched the Japanese stock market literally go down by 1,000 points and crash. This morning we wake up and so far the Dow is it was at one point close to 350, 400 points down. It seems to be recovering a little bit, but it's still early in the morning. It's like noon, New York time. So, we still have like 4 or 5 hours, like 5 hours, I think, left in the market. And there's a lot of things that can happen. Just like yesterday, a lot of things happened in the afternoon and so on and so forth. But this could be already like the beginnings of, Black Wednesday or whatever the fuck it is, or the crash or whatever. You get, remember that. Here, I'm gonna play you guys a little clip from yesterday of Jim Cramer talking about what was going on. Remember, you gotta do the opposite of what he says. Opposite, okay?
But I do want to say, listen, it's disconcerting. But as everybody gets disconcerted about it, I get less disconcerted. And what that says is, listen, a lot of people just say, I got to sell. Now, I want to, longer term, I think you're really crazy to do that, okay? Because I think there's so many things that are good. I understand you're going to have a guest that talks about 1987. I was in cash for 1987. I was in cash for the crash. So maybe I have some ability to opine on that crash. I don't see a lot of sectors that are doing well. Housing properties are actually coming down. My house is going down in value. Yes. Many people's houses are going down in value. That's not the time when you slam on the mortgage. You don't go to 5% mortgage just when your house is losing value, because it's just going to lose more value. Not a lot of houses are trading yet. They'll trade lower. And when they do, Jay Powell will look back and say, well, I didn't mean to do that.
Is there any risk that the decline in housing values could do to the market what it did in 2007?
Fortunately not, because the loan to value that people have in the FICO scores are much better. So I don't want to conflate those two. It would be wrong.
And the capital positions of the banks are better.
Yeah, okay, arguably the banks are going to hear we didn't have as much lending because the balance sheets of the consumer are so good. I think it's a shame that Powell thinks, and there are other people who come on our network and say, look, this is really run amok inflation. I think it's a shame that we shouldn't allow people to get jobs and make more money. This isn't my old shop steward lefty thing. I just really feel like, hey, listen, it's not as dangerous. But that's why he's raising. But how about this? What would Janet Yellen do? What would she do? I think I know what she would do. I think she would listen to programs like this and listen to what's happening in the marketplace and with housing, and she would listen to what's happening in industrial. She'd listen to what's happening in construction and in autos, and she'd say, you know what, I've raised rates, and now let's see what happens.
Let's pause.
That's what Janet Yellen would do, and I really miss Janet Yellen. And I don't like what's happening at the Fed, because the Fed has decided, like Ben Bernanke in 2005, we got to put a stop to this, even as they knew absolutely nothing in 2006.
This is slowing the economy down. This is a real impact on the stock market, and we're going to step back. Or you can say it is inflationary. We have inflation to fight.
Well, I have Barry Sternlicht on today. He knows more about real estate than almost anybody in the world. And he's saying, listen, steel costs have gone up so much that it no longer pays to build.
To build, right.
And now that's,
Lumber,
now does that stop the economy?
Bueller.
So I think that some of it is man-made. Yeah. Look, if we had more oil, we did the Iranian sanctions. That caused oil to spike. Now we don't have enough truckers because we changed the rules. You can only drive 50 hours a week. If you speak to Ingenuity, you speak to the people, Hugh Johnson, a lot of what's happening in inflation is man-made.
How many interest rate hikes is the market pricing in for next year? We know they're pricing in one more this year.
Right.
Is it 3 or 4?
Well, I think that the decline will accelerate if Jay Powell doesn't walk things back.
Doesn't walk things back.
You see, the problem
doesn't listen to the data.
Here's the problem. Let's say I say you have to get out now because he's doing the wrong thing. Well, what happens if he says, you know what? I do want to, I said some things last week about overshooting, and what I really meant to say is I don't want to undershoot and I don't want to overshoot. Then suddenly we have a big rally and people say, why did that clown Cramer come on and say to sell everything? I'm not saying that. This fellow's going to come on in 1987. I mean, you know what? When I went into cash in 1987, it was because the second worst week in the market's history was the week before the crash. And I didn't want to be in it and have any more exposure.
Knowledge.
But, you have man-made oil. You have man-made wage inflation to some degree because we lowered taxes. And you have autos that aren't selling, but Phil LeBeau would tell you that can change. And you have a tariff, you have a tariff, let's call it skirmish, like Jamie Walt on Friday. I love these first. How much sure, Jamie? There's not a lot of first-name people in the world. So you have all these things, and you have a panic. And I always say the same thing, which is that nobody ever made a dime panicking. And if you're thinking about your 401k and you haven't made a contribution, you're going to do it year end, you know what? Maybe do a little now.
My highly trained Stratonites. My killers. My killers who will not take no for an answer. My fucking warriors who will not hang up the phone until their client either buys or fucking die!
I don't see a lot of optimism. I see a lot of people want to scare the bejesus out of people. Yeah. I'm just saying, look, I have been saying night after night, cautious. I mean, I went out, it's like hey, listen, it's going to sell off.
I'm asking you, though, I want to know what the bright point, we're looking at the Dow down right now, 500 points. Where's the bright spot?
Well, the bright spot is that we are not racked with inflation, even if Powell says we are. And also, earnings can get better. They don't just have to get worse. We just need some of the raw costs to come down. And by the way, let's just understand each other. The market has been up a lot, okay? So it's not like this is the end of the world. If you drop a zero and we're 20, let's say we really are at 2,600 on the Dow, are we going to go to 14? No. We can sell off and maybe things will cool off. And by the time we get into earnings season, people might say, you know what, that stock is down so much. They told a decent story year over year. You know what, I'm going to go buy, I'll use the worst example, Ford. I think this quarter is going to be horrendous.
Of all the companies you choose,
I picked the worst. Why not start with the worst? I could have used Micron. Right. These are companies that are selling at 5 times earnings and 4 times earnings. Ford, I don't think will cut its dividend. I think Ford's going to have a horrendous quarter.
Honey, this is real. No. That's a scam.
Someone said to me, aren't you yelling fire in a crowded theater? And I said, yeah, but you see, there's a fire.
Yeah.
There's no fire here, so I'm not going to yell.
You are fake news.
Someone said to me, aren't you yelling fire in a crowded theater? And I said, yeah, but you see, there's a fire.
Yeah.
There's no fire here, so I'm not going to yell. But look back, and I don't want to be the guy that says, you know what, it's 87. And it is really coming apart. And by the way, can we remember that in 1987, the economy was actually quite strong? It was just the stock market that fell apart. Here we have a lot of buybacks. We have a lot of good things going. We have a Fed that is very worried about its shadow and wants to prove its mettle. And against that, we've got higher oil, and we've got king dollar, and we have a war with China that is really us fighting back. And that's going to cause the market to decline a little. But once it goes down, do you think that there won't be some bargains? I think it would be tragic if people just said, you know what, get out now. Instead, look, I have some money that my dad left me for my kids.
I'm going to go add money to my 529
I just added, I've been trying to get through it. Geez, the brokers. But I got some money from my late dad for my kids, and I've been waiting for a break. I bought some. He told me, he said, put some money to work before he passed away. And then the rest I kind of kept on the sidelines. At S&P, I'm not allowed to own any stocks. So I today added because I was going to wait till the end of the year. I both put some money of theirs to work. They don't watch the show, don't worry. One of them, I think, doesn't know I have a show. Yeah. But that's all right, because my wife's never watched.
Fascinating conversation.
My wife, frankly, who's in real estate, has said, listen, if you're in New York real estate, get out now. And I said to her, I'm in New York real estate. I can't get out now. Paul Manafort's house, by the way, is 5 houses from my house. That's for sale. He paid $5 million. I say we bid him 1.5. But yeah, New York real estate, and Barry Sternlicht will talk about it, is very bad.
And that's tonight. Yeah.
And I wish it weren't, because I'm long New York real estate. But then again, what am I supposed to do? What my wife said is we should sell and then rent. I said, I haven't ran it since '84.
You are fake news.
So, yeah, guys, like I said, I'm keeping this really short today because I'm most likely going to go live later today on Twitch. Please. By the way, I want to give a shout out to everyone that joined me on Discord yesterday, on Twitch, on everything, everywhere, and we're going to keep this going, obviously. But most likely I'm going to do a live broadcast later tonight talking about what's going on. On top of that, you know, I might even do another video later, you know, who knows, you know, it just all depends. But I'll probably just go live and then record that and maybe upload that or something. But regardless, there's a lot of things down the pike. Tomorrow's Friday. We got to see how the markets go. We got to see how the markets, you know, take this to tonight. We got to see how Bitcoin is taking this. You know, right now, I'm just going to take a quick look. You know, right now I'm going to take a quick look at the Dow, and look, Dow's in the positive right now, only like a 1%, only 1 point. It's only up 1 point, so they seem to be making a recovery here, okay? And you got to remember that even if today is in a recovery and tomorrow is a deep red day like it was yesterday, today is a moot point. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to go in the green today, green tomorrow, green Monday, green, you know, like that. If it's in the red, if it's just kind of even today, red tomorrow, red on Monday, you know. Hey guys, as of right now, it's almost 2 p.m. Eastern time, so about 3.5 hours before the markets close, and right now it's around negative 200 points, so it seems to be continuing with the negative. So yeah, that's happening. And yeah, and again, I'm sorry for the not short episode, but it's kind of short. See you guys later. It's not doing anything. And again, Bitcoin dropped to, like, again, we're at 6,200, 6,300, and it's just been staying even there, and so on and so forth. So, you know, we're seeing a lot of action happening all around the world. I'm watching, you know, Asian markets. I was watching the emerging markets. I'm listening to news out here in Mexico and other places, and, you know, they feel it. They're feeling it. They're not looking forward to this, but they understand, you know, like us, that we kind of are looking forward to it, but, you know, one of those things. And that's it. So, anyways, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode to just give you guys a quick little update on what the hell's going on, where we're standing, what's happening, and so on and so forth. And I would just really want to give a humongous shout out to all you guys out there, you know, all my patrons, you know, all of you guys, you know, helping me, you know, just throwing all those little tips here and there on my live broadcast, and not on the live broadcast, but just in general, all the comments, all the love, all the everything. And especially a shout out to all you guys, all your new subscribers. I got a bunch of new subscribers late in the last couple days, especially yesterday. I got a bunch of new people on Discord. I want to give everyone a shout out. Much love, much peace. And again, I'm keeping this super crazy short because I got like a lot of homework I got to do, a lot of work to do. And again, guys, I will be seeing you guys later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, if it's any earlier, please just stay tuned to the Discord. I mean, yeah, stay tuned to the Discord channel so you can get all the updates. But most likely 8 p.m. tonight on Twitch live. All right, guys, thanks again for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and I'll see you guys later today. Peace, and hopefully I'll have my shirt back on, okay? I promise.
I want you to know that this is not my decision. You can consider this my retirement from comedy.
Does that include That's What She Said?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow, that is really hard. You really think you can go all day long? Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so...
That's what she said!